I get to meet another amazing exotic veterinarian, dear friend of Dr. Doug Maters, and somebody highly regarded in the exotic animal world, Dr. Jeff Jenkins in San Diego. You've been doing this for a minute, as they say, haven't you? This
Yep.
exotic animal practice.
Yeah. I started training and graduated from vet school 42 and a half years ago,
Wow.
almost. Yeah.
You must love what you do. You have to love what you do, or you wouldn't still be doing it. You wouldn't still have a clinic with people coming in.
Yeah, I do. Because not only do I love the animals and I love the medicine, but I really like my clients. And
Oh, that's
I
nice.
enjoy sitting in the exam rooms with them. And one of my biggest flaws is probably I get talking to my clients and get behind.
That's a great flaw to have. I'm sure you don't know about this, but there's a new app created by a couple in Switzerland called Scratches. And it's an app you could tell your clients about. It's a social app, whether platonic or romantic, for people who have exotic pets and want to find like-minded people. So if you have a beardy or you have a parrot, you can find someone else who doesn't go, "What?" They say,
Yeah,
"Oh, wow, that's so cool." And it is an interesting bunch of people who own exotics, isn't it?
absolutely. Yes, we always say that our clients are exotic as well.
I like that. That's wonderful. Do you see any regular pets like dogs and cats?
No, we're strictly exotic. So the most regular things we see are rabbits and hamsters and guinea
Right.
pigs, which is the foundation of the practice, probably. But
Is it not reptiles? Not
oh, but yeah,
avian?
oh yeah, we see tons of reptiles, and especially like you said, the bearded dragon is the guinea pig of the reptile world, I
Yes, yes.
guess.
And do people bring them in? Are they on top of the medical needs of these exotics?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's really what we do. So we see some of them are new, people are new, and then we do some post-purchase exam type
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
But there's I'd say the majority of things are sick, or we see some other maintenance things. Birds who need their toenails done and they can't get them done anyplace, or their beaks trimmed, or they need some special attention, or they have to have an anesthesia to do some of those things. And so we see all sorts of stuff, and then we see some things that are not as much anymore, but we for years we saw helping hands primates who are
Oh my
support
goodness.
animals for people who are disabled, and but they'd have to have regular visits just to comply. Oops, got my little cat friend here.
Oh, hi, Kitty. Who is that? What's that cat's
That's
name?
that's Ravioli.
Oh,
She's
I
my
love
she's
it.
my daughter's cat, but
She's
um,
lovely. But Grandpa gets to take care of her.
Grandpa gets to take care of her.
So, helping hands were chimp. We want to talk about the whole history of exotic veterinary care, which will be really interesting. But helping hands, chimpanzees, I knew nothing about this. I
Oh,
know
they're
because,
they're actually capuchins. Yeah, capuchins.
oh, the organ grinder monkeys,
Yeah.
I like to think of them. Yeah, chimpanzees would be a little dangerous and a little
Yeah, I don't know about that.
could rip your face off. The capuchins are trained to do things like pick up and open doors and turn on lights like dogs have been.
Yeah, and get things out of the cabinets and a bunch of stuff.
Wow. And those capuchins will get them out of the cabinet and not throw everything out of the cabinet for fun.
I don't really know. I think part of it is if you're paralyzed, you get a pet monkey.
Yeah.
And I have to uh, add to that that the program is now has come to an end, but there's a few, and I think we may have just lost our last
Oh,
one, but stays, and their purpose now is to care for the monkeys that have been in their care and in their system as long as they're around, but they do some other positive things for the primate world as well.
nice. How long does a capuchin live?
Oh, I don't know. I think most of them, they don't come into their program, I don't think, until they're something like 12 or 13 years old. And
Oh,
then it takes 4 or 5 years for them to learn how to be a good
a good
support
monkey.
rep. So a lot of the ones that we have
Wow.
worked with over the years lived into their 20s.
Interesting. We don't advocate for monkey ownership, pet ownership, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
That's what most vets would say, and most advocates for an animal human bond. It might seem so natural. We all have opposable thumbs, but maybe it comes there. So there you were in vet school. Where did you go to school?
I went to Colorado State University.
Nice, nice. And when you were there, what bug bit you? You said dogs, cats, horses, cows. No, thank you.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you beat a snake and that was it for you? Or how did it happen?
It actually started long before that. to tell
Oh,
you the truth. And I think that as long as I remember, I knew what I wanted to do. So I'm pretty blessed because I knew what I wanted to do and I got to do it.
wow.
So, but I can tell you that I remember going to the veterinarian's office for the first time. And I don't know exactly how old I was, but I think it was before I'd started grade school and thinking that it was absolutely not like it was supposed to be. There were only dogs and cats there, and
Really? You
it
felt
just
that as
wasn't
a
the
little
way
guy.
that, yeah. But the other foundational story I tell all the time is that in grade school, I couldn't go to the school's library till second grade. I grew up in Salt Lake and with huge elementary school populations. I remember they had more than one first grade, no kindergarten back then. They started at first
Right.
grade.
Hmm.
And those first grade classrooms shared kind of sunken living room place where the teachers could read stories to us or we could do what that. And it had its own kind of mini library. But in second grade, we got to go to the library and I was looking forward to that. I'd been to the city library. So on that very first library orientation trip, I found the book for Dr. Dolittle book
Oh
on
my.
the new bookshelf. So
Aha.
it just goes to show how old I am because that was before the very first Dr. Dolittle movie. And I got into a row with the librarian because she thought that book was way too sophisticated for me. I could never get through it reading it. But I got in quite the fight with her, and
Good for you.
I convinced her that my mother would read it to me. But I remember checking that out with the idea that it would be a good training manual for me. That
No
I would
kidding.
learn how to do this, what I do, by reading that book.
That beautiful. You really did have that strong of a clarity about it right away.
Yeah,
Did you have funny animals, unusual animals growing up? I don't know, a turtle, a snake, a rat, something that made you
yeah.
able to talk to those animals?
Well, I grew up in the mountains outside of Salt Lake City,
Okay.
and so there were lots of things to catch and take care of.
Yes.
So a variety of reptiles and all sorts of things. And we found ourselves with orphaned things all
Yes.
the time. So I
Yes.
hand fed baby birds. I found a baby fawn who had been abandoned by his
Wow.
mom. And that was unfortunate because I actually had it for about a week before the Fish and Game came to check on it. And it turns out that it was blind. So it had probably been abandoned because it was blind. And
Oh,
so that
yeah.
one didn't turn out great. I raised a baby raccoon
No
who
kidding.
turned into a monster, so that didn't. I think I'd almost advocate primates before raccoons as pets,
They're
but
that.
yeah, but one of the neat things about raccoons is they're so smart. You don't really have to do much to rehabilitate them. So even
Interesting.
now in the rehabs that I do work for, the raccoons basically grow up with support and they don't hack them out. They don't give them any support when they release them. They just take them to an
Okay.
appropriate place and let them go. And they're smart enough to figure out how to take care of
And
themselves.
how to be a raccoon in the wild.
Yeah,
How cool is that? All right, so you clearly were on the path. So there you are. You're in first grade and you're like, I got this. I know exactly where I'm going to go.
that's right.
In vet school, in the days that you were in the vet school, and I imagine even today, wanting to be an exotic vet is a tiny tributary of a large river. You must have
Right.
been either alone in your interest or lonely, or you didn't care. Just teach me the exotic stuff.
Yeah. There wasn't much teaching of that stuff to be done. But here's a great thing is that when I started, there was a group of students there who wanted to start a raptor rehab program.
Oh,
And they had extra room in the new teaching hospital for them. And so they convinced the powers that be to do that. Now, I was new then, so I don't know exactly the process and how that worked out. But they set up a system where the first year and second year vet students were in charge of most of the rehab. So in other words, we had to go and feed and clean birds in cages. We flew birds on creances, which is
what's a creon? What's a creon?
falconry term, but we'd fly them on a line because we didn't have a flight cage or anything. But and then the upperclassmen, the junior and senior, third and fourth year vet students would had primary control over the cases. So they'd do input for the animals and arrange what was going to happen to them medically or surgically and do their medical treatments and stuff like that. And so that was a big thing for me to do because I got all that. The people who were interested in bird medicine, especially, were all drawn to doing that. And the change over the years that I was there was that the class ahead of me, the people who were real enthusiastic, trickled out because of responsibilities in school and stuff. And literally, my third year, I became in charge of that whole program.
Oh, kidding. Where would the
Um,
raptors come from? Would they have fallen out of a nest or grown
yeah,
being
yeah,
or
things that people just found or showed up in their yard or,
wow.
injured. So they
Yeah.
came from the animal control people. They came from just good Samaritans who found them.
Hmm.
And
And you
some
were
of
the
them
man.
from, yeah, after a couple of years, the place had quite the reputation, and birds would come from long distances away sometimes to come there.
It's amazing that it's like that app I just told you about. You in vet school, you vets found each other who had this other than mainstream interest in animals, and you found
Right.
each other and you built a mini community. Then the others went off to whatever, maybe not even greener pastures, different pastures, and you stayed the course. What do you
Yeah.
see today to the extent that you see young vets coming out of school, perhaps wanting to intern or apprentice or be a partner with you? Do you see more interest, different interest?
Well, I think that there's still a lot of people who are interested in exotics. And so we, for most of the history of the my hospital, and have had students who just came to visit or did longer term preceptorships that would be a month long or the whole semester long. Um, and then we did both internships and residency programs over the year. We've just trying to, partially because life just moves on, I guess, but my hospital's very busy. And so for a while, with a stable employed veterinary staff, we laid off those training
Right.
things. Lots of very interesting and people who were very motivated and intelligent people came through my hospital. And there's a long line of people who are now or who became writers or editors of veterinary publications. I have two deans of veterinary school
No
who
kidding.
came
That's
through my
huge.
hospital and spent time there. So
Wow. And were they they must have been specially interested in exotics or they wouldn't have.
yeah, exactly.
So their veterinary schools now would support those students really interested in the
Yeah.
specialty. If they're the dean, they get to call the shots.
And the negative that's happened over the years is I think when I was young, almost not just veterinary medicine, but most professionals, they were really interested in being part of something bigger, it seems. So if you were graduated from law school, you wanted to become a partner in the
Yeah.
law firm.
Yeah.
If you were a veterinarian, you wanted to be a partner or a specialist or own your own veterinary hospital. And I think a lot of that has changed. And so I blame my generation probably because we've raised our children to have a more balanced life. But
Good.
I will tell you that I did not have a balanced life.
You were
I
driven
pretty,
by, I've got to be successful. I've got to make
yeah,
money. I've got to have my name on the door. What about your
yeah.
daughter? Is she gone into the field?
No, my daughter's a professional ballerina. And
Wow. How cool
when,
is she?
yeah, so when she was young, she won a big, she literally at 3 years of age, she came to my wife and I after seeing the Nutcracker. I think they had a little Meet the Ballerina sugar plum tea after the Nutcracker. And I think one of them maybe whispered in her ear. But the following Monday, she came to my wife and I after dinner with her hands on her hips and told us, I want to go to a real ballet school. So she started at 3, and with the same dogged persistence, I think that I had, uh,
Yeah.
grew up at 15, won the regional Youth American Grand Prix competition,
Whoa.
and from that won a scholarship to go to a very good ballet school in Winnipeg, Canada, where she graduated at the top of her class and
No
has
kidding.
danced professionally since then. Yeah.
That's really amazing because even with all the will in the world, if her body didn't grow correctly for the job, she would have been out of luck.
Yeah. Yeah. She was
Happen
blessed
to have
because,
the right
yeah,
body type. But that's
exactly.
incredible. Everyone knows how hard it is to be a ballerina. Painful, like physically painful, mentally grueling. That's really great.
And
But
I can't say that whole generation doesn't have drive because every day she gets up and works out and goes
yes,
to dance class and those things. She got injured last year and she worked and pushed through that. She's back dancing right now. She's doing a production out of a that's going to be performed in Irvine, California.
no kidding.
And so she did that. But yeah, but part of it, you have to have some physical attributes. So she was blessed with that as well.
Yeah. And that's really a wonderful story that you say that your generation has raised kids or the next generation with more of a work-life balance. But of course, you raised a ballerina and they are 100% work. They
Yeah,
have to be. Whereas a vet, even a vet starting out, has to be 100% because as the vet starting out, you have to be willing to take the 3 a.m. call,
that's right.
someone whose rabbit stopped breathing or some awful thing.
Yeah. Although I'll tell you the motivation to really, like I think when we interview new veterinarians now, a lot of them would like to start right out of vet school doing something like 3 days a week or
It's
something.
amazing.
And
It's
I
so
think that
amazing.
that's
They want to know when the vacation will be on their interview.
exactly. And I don't know that's bad. I'm not saying that, but it's very different from the way things maybe were when I was that
Yeah.
age.
Yes, there seems to be a focus and maybe a hyper focus, and the pendulum may be swinging towards personal care, mental health. And I don't mean it disparagingly, but when people that are in their 20s, let's just go 20s, anywhere in their 20s, read about various athletes who spent their whole life training to be an ice skater, a tennis player, whatever it may be, and then they take 6 months off or a year off for mental health. I think that sends a message that my mental health matters. I'm going to protect mine from the beginning. But it doesn't mean that it's going to work for society. For people with advanced degrees to not be willing to put their shoulder in and carry the weight of a newbie. You're
Yeah.
a rookie, right? When you're a rookie, you're a rookie. As you found out when you were first in vet school, you get to clean the cages. That's about it. And only when other people drop away do you get to actually put hands on the birds. Jeff Jenkins, it's wonderful how many years you've been caring for these people and their pets. I love that your clients are just as exotic as their pets. And it's really wonderful to meet you. I think it's important for people to see the face of the people who take care of their animals and know that there are vets like you who've been dedicated forever to taking care of the non-traditional pets. And those are the vets that it would most behoove you, if possible, to seek out because they have a passion for you and your pets that extends beyond dogs and cats. Thank you for being here. Thank you for a lifetime devotion to these animals and their people. I'm so happy to meet you, and I hope you'll come back and we'll talk some more another time.
Sounds great.
Take care, and I hope your daughter,
I'm looking forward to doing it again.
me too, and I hope your daughter has a beautiful continuing career as a ballerina. That's so exciting. Every girl in the world thinks ballerinas are amazing. I can just speak for myself. Ballerinas are amazing.
Well, I certainly did.
And yours in particular. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye
All
bye.
right.